right, we are up at the loading bridge, which is the catwalk or platform above the locking rail, way up at the top of the building level. So we're right up by the ceiling. We're going to talk about some of the things that live up here, some of the components of the system that might be useful to know how they actually work. We generally operate the system from down there, but we interface with these components way up here. So first and foremost, this is where we normally store our counterweight. So you can see counterweight is stacked up here on one side only. That gives me a nice place to walk on one side, and the counterweight stored on the other. You'll also see that the counterweight is only stacked so high, and the reason for that is we have a nice kick plate here to make sure that the counterweight can't be kicked off of there. If I were to stack this up too high, it's possible that counterweight could fall down there just by me walking up here and my errant foot kicking it off. So important to keep these stacked no higher than what your kick plate is. As we work our way over to the counterweight system itself, we have a number of components. So we talked about the hand line when we were downstairs. Well, the hand line's still up here. It's the exact same hand line as we looked at downstairs, but different portions of it. Here are those cables. Those are the cables that are attached to the top of the arbor, and they go up the arbor, up over the head block, and out to the loft blocks. Back here, we can get a nice view of the guide system. So these are the tracks that the arbors glide in as they go up and down. And then here, at the top of the guide system, is something called the stop rail, and that's where the arbor is stopped in its upward motion, and it's also where all the load is transferred when you're putting extra weight down on the floor. Let's say you bring an empty pipe in, you hang a whole bunch of lights on it. Well, now you got a bunch of weight down there, and where's it go? Well, that weight is pushing up against that stop button. Now, it's important to note that not all systems have a robust stop button. I think of wire guide systems. If you don't have a guide track here but have two cables instead, those systems generally don't have that stop button, so you don't have the luxury of putting a lot of weight down there without loading up here. In those circumstances, you need to keep those more in balance and be loading down there as you're loading up here. So another thing I'll show over here is we have an arbor up here. Just like when we were downstairs, we had an arbor. Well, this is an arbor up here because the batten is now at the floor level. So as the arbor moves the whole way up, you can see there's where it makes connection up there and interfaces into the guide right here. You see the guide shoes down there and up there. One other thing I'll point out up here is the horizontal lifeline. The horizontal lifeline is the fall protection, and Bridget is going to walk you through the fall protection.
When you're working above 6 feet, you need fall protection, and we have a good system in place that is recommended to use on a weight floor. We have a horizontal lifeline and some self-retracting lifelines and our harnesses. So this is one example of a fall protection program for this venue.